We have all known someone who's battled serious back and neck pain, maybe you are, as you watch this morning. It can feel frightening to know which approach to take to ease that pain. Lucky for us, Dr. Kyle Kessler with Center for Sports Medicine joins us this morning. You specialize in neck and back pain, but that can look like a lot of different things to the different patients who come through your door, right?
Correct, and thank you for having me on. It's great to be here again and talk a little bit about this.
So when you talk about back pain,
Yeah.
Especially back pain,
Yeah.
that can be the origin, can it, a back issue for pain that can appear in a different part of your body?
Exactly. And one of the things I have people come into my clinic complaining of a lot that they don't know is from their back is things in their legs. Everybody knows about sciatica, that shooting pain down your leg, but that's not always what it looks like. There's a condition called spinal stenosis, and stenosis just means pinching. You can have stenosis of a drain pipe, you can have stenosis of a vessel, you can have stenosis in your back. And what that means is the nerves are pinched enough that they're not functioning normally. One of the things I am really into this summer is gardening. So
Yeah.
I'm into tomatoes, I eat a lot of tomatoes. And if you were to go out in your garden and I gave you a hose and said, water this garden, keep all these plants healthy. If I started to stand on that hose and put a little more pressure on it, a little more pressure on it, eventually you wouldn't be able to get enough water for your plants.
Right.
Those plants would get upset, they'd wither, they'd die. That's kind of what goes on in your back with spinal stenosis.
So is it caused by just wear and tear over time? Does injury cause it? What happens?
It can come from a lot of things. The example you use of wear and tear is probably the most common. I kind of brought a little example to show what I was talking about here.
Okay.
But your spine is more or less a tube. You look down a tube, you can see all of those nerves that go through that tube. Over time, when you have wear and tear, that tube starts to get off center to where that tube in the middle is
Okay,
smaller.
wait, show people, because that's a great visual. So
Yeah.
this camera that's right in front of you.
Yeah, so if I have this tube that's open, as you get some wear and tear and those two tubes start to slide, you can see how there's no more space there for the nerves.
Sure.
What happens with that is those nerves get pinched. They start to, when you ask them to do something, you try to walk to the mailbox, you try to walk to the grocery store. When you try to use those nerves, your back aches, your leg aches, and you just feel like you've got to sit down or you're going to fall down.
Okay, so let me ask you this. When I think of nerve pain, I think of that shooting,
Yep.
like you can't do anything but stop pain.
Correct.
You're making this sound more like an ache.
Yep, and the type of pain you talk about is absolutely a type of nerve pain. The reason I talk about this one is people don't know about this. People live for years not realizing that this is a pinch thing in their back that is so fixable.
So you mentioned like the fatigue almost, the ache of going to the mailbox and coming
Yep.
back. We hear about that a lot with vascular issues.
Correct.
So does it often get misconstrued?
That is a spectacular question, and that's always what it is trying to tease out, is it from the vessel, is it from the nerves?
Okay.
Part of the time it's from one, part of it's from the other. That's why I work so closely with some of the vascular surgeons here in town to help tease that out.
Okay, so I know you brought another prop, and that's
Yeah.
the spine here.
Yeah.
So let's say that somebody does come in and they have stenosis.
Yeah.
Does it tend to be located, your spine's pretty large.
Yeah.
So does it typically come from the bottom, the top?
It can come from anywhere. Usually where we're talking about is in the bottom of your back.
Okay.
I have some back pain, it always bothers me, but when I try to walk, it kills me. My legs start to kill me. And that's because there's a tube like we were talking about that runs down the middle of your back.
Okay.
That tube is where those nerves get pinched. And the nice thing about this is a condition that is so fixable.
How do you fix it?
The surgery for this is as simple as our tube example. We have that tube that's closed up tight. We open the top of that tube up to allow those nerves to have as much space as they want. It doesn't structurally change your back. It doesn't require any metal. It doesn't require any fusion. It takes me 45 minutes.
Okay, so wait, you had those two, put your little things together.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so in the original example of what your back should look like, your
Yes.
spine should look like, they're totally aligned,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Then you let one kind of slide
Yep.
a little bit.
So if we had that example and I start to slide one of these to where they're starting to pinch, if I just open the top of those up, even though they're not aligned perfectly anymore,
the nerves
the
have,
nerves have tons of room.
okay.
Doesn't make your spine unstable. It's a little incision, something like this. Takes about 45 minutes. People go home the same day, and their
Wow.
walking is improving within days.
So over time, wear and tear occurs. So
Yes.
like, would it be probable that somebody might come to you who's in their mid-40s with stenosis. A lot of life in front of them.
For sure. Yeah, I see it in people in their 40s. Probably the sweet spot that I see it the most is people in their 50s and 60s.
Okay.
And the part that's too bad is people tend to attribute it to, oh, I'm getting older, it's just harder to get around.
Right.
Sure, sometimes that's true.
So you're 58, you come
Yes.
in, you're a candidate for it, you do the surgery.
Yeah.
When you're 78, will that same opening that you've created be pretty much the same or as wear and tear?
Pretty much stays open there.
Okay.
You can always get wear and tear other places, but this is a surgery I do on people well into their 90s.
Is there anything we can do to offset it?
Sure, so over the years, it's trying to prevent that wear and tear. So that's things like keeping your back healthy, keeping your posture upright, keeping those muscles strong so that the bones aren't having to take that wear and tear.
Okay, before I let you run,
Yeah.
are you a supporter at all of those like posture corrector things that you can see on Facebook?
Yeah, so I think they're a good thing to help train people on what to do correctly as a reminder. If you're using them just to hold your shoulders back and hold you upright, your muscles aren't learning to do anything. If you're
you gotta
using
do it
them
yourself.
to remind you, then yeah, I think they're reasonable.
All right. Well, you're awfully reasonable. I am so glad you came to educate us
Thanks
this
for having me
morning.
on.
Are you taking new patients?
Absolutely.
All right, here's where you'll find him at Center for Sports Medicine. His name, Dr. Kyle Kessler. The number you see on your screen is the main office for Sports Med, but of course, as you know, they have locations all around town. Also go online at sportmed.com to read more about Dr. Kessler's bio and the great credentials that he brings to him here in Chattanooga. Thanks.
Thank you.
Say goodbye to those dull kitchen knives and hello to sharp ones. Good Kinson in the studio going to show us the right way to sharpen a knife when we come back.